most productive thing a man can do is disappear for a while. Not from his work, not from his goals, not from the thing he is building, from the noise, from the people who need something from him constantly, from the dynamics that cost more than they give, from the version of himself he performs for everyone around him without even knowing he is performing. Most men have never been alone. Not really. They have been physically alone. But mentally, emotionally, there was always someone. Someone they were trying to impress. Someone they were waiting to hear from. Someone whose opinion was quietly shaping every decision they made without them realizing it. That is not solitude. That is just loneliness with a phone in your hand. Real solitude is different. Real solitude is when you sit with yourself long enough to hear what you actually want. Not what you were taught to want, not what she wanted, not what the group expected, what you want. Most men never get there, not because they are incapable of it, because they fill every silence before it can tell them anything. This video is about what happens when a man stops filling the silence, and why the world will not understand what he is doing while he is doing it. Something is shifting, not dramatically, not all at once, but quietly, consistently, in a way that the numbers are starting to show. More men are choosing to be alone, not because they gave up, not because they are broken, not because something went wrong, because something went right. They tried the alternative. They were available. They were present. They showed up. They gave their time, their energy, their attention, their focus to relationships, to social circles, to dynamics that required everything from them and returned very little. And at some point, not with anger, not with bitterness, they simply did the math. The cost was higher than the return. And the man who understands that stops making the investment. Not permanently, not out of fear, out of clarity. Here is what most people miss when they talk about men choosing solitude. They frame it as withdrawal, as giving up, as running away from something. It is not withdrawal. It is redirection. Every hour a man spends managing a dynamic that does not serve him. Every text he sends into a conversation that costs more than it gives. Every evening he spends performing presents for people who do not notice when he is gone. That is an hour that was supposed to go somewhere else. Into the work, into the building, into the thing that will still matter in 10 years. The man who chooses solitude does not lose connection. He redirects attention, and attention is the only resource that converts directly into output. Not money, not time, not motivation. Attention. The man who controls his attention controls what gets built. The man who gives it away freely builds nothing of his own. If you are still watching, subscribe right now. Because what I am about to tell you is the section most men never reach. Not the philosophy, the actual shift. What changes in a man when he spends enough time alone to stop being shaped by what everyone else needs from him and start being shaped by what he actually is? Hit subscribe. Stay with us. When a man sits with himself long enough, not scrolling, not filling the space with noise, not reaching for the next distraction, something happens that cannot happen any other way. He starts to hear himself, not the version of himself that was built for other people, not the version that learned to be agreeable in certain rooms, to shrink in others, to perform confidence here and perform humility there. The actual version, The one with opinions that were never voiced because the room was not safe for them. The one with direction that was never followed because the people around him were going somewhere else. The one with standards that were quietly abandoned, one compromise at a time, to keep people comfortable. That version has been there the whole time. He was just never given enough silence to make himself heard. Solitude gives him the silence. And what he says, when he finally gets it, is the most important information a man can receive about himself. When a man starts choosing solitude, when he becomes harder to reach, less available, more focused on what he is building, the world calls it a problem. Friends say he changed. Family says he is isolating. People who benefited from his availability say he became selfish. None of them are wrong exactly. He did change. He is less available. And yes, in a specific sense, he did become more focused on himself. But selfish implies that what he is doing comes at someone else's expense. It does not. A man who focuses on his own building does not take anything from anyone. He simply stops giving away the one resource that was supposed to go into his own life. The world calls that selfish because it benefited from his generosity. It is not selfish. It is the most important reallocation a man can make. The man who spends real time in solitude, not hiding, not avoiding, but genuinely present with himself for long enough to hear what he actually wants, comes out of it different, not harder, not colder, not closed off, clearer. He knows what he is building. He knows why. He knows which connections add something to that and which ones drain it. He is not antisocial. He is selective. And selectivity looks like coldness to the people who depended on him being available for everything. It is not coldness. It is the result of a man who finally stopped outsourcing his direction to the people around him and started deciding for himself where he is going. That man is harder to distract, harder to pull off course, harder to keep small. Not because he became aggressive, because he became specific. He knows what he is for, and everything that is not for, that no longer has the same pull it once did. Most men will spend their entire lives surrounded by people and never once be alone enough to find out what they are actually for. They will stay available, stay connected, stay in rooms that cost them more than they give, because leaving feels like failure. It is not failure. It is the first step. The silence on the other side of those rooms is not empty. It is full of everything you have been too busy to hear. Your direction, your standards, your actual opinion, the version of yourself that was waiting for enough quiet to finally say something. Go get quiet. Not forever. Not as a rejection of connection. As an investment in the only person whose direction actually matters for the life you are trying to build. You cannot build something real while you are constantly managing what everyone else needs from you. Build first, then choose very carefully who gets to be part of what you built. If this video gave you something, subscribe. This channel is for the men who are serious about what they are building. New video every week. Hit the bell. Stay with us. Stay cold. Keep building.